Welcome to Inside the Red Zone with Coach Smith and Michele. In today's podcast, you're going to hear from Ben Thomas, the high school editor for AL.com. Ben covers the entire state of Alabama when it comes to high school athletics.
He has been named one of the top 50 legends of the Alabama the Sports Writers Association, right? And he's also won the National Sports Media Association on the Alabama Sports Writer of the Year in 2020. I don't know if I gave that enough credit or, even said it correctly, but Ben Thomas, we are so excited that you're here with us.
Yeah, I think they just ran out of people, so they gave it to me. I don't know what the deal is.
Definitely deserve that.
Well, good to be with you guys. I miss seeing you. I don't get to see you nearly as much as I used to, but so good to be with you guys tonight.
I know we miss getting to see Ben frequently.
Well, I tell you, Ben's one of the good guys. I mean, you cannot find anybody to talk bad about Ben.
No,
I tell you, I've been knowing Ben for a long time, guys, and you cannot find a better guy in the sports world than Ben Thomas. I just want to thank you again, Ben, for being on the show tonight, man. Looking forward to it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So you better get ready and strap that home. Hey, you might have to turn that hat on backwards. I've seen you wear the hats backwards. So it gets intense inside the red zone.
That's
absolutely.
Right. Well,
yeah.
That's right. We know you guys are serious when you turn your hats around backwards, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, Ben, let's just get right at it. I want to ask the first question. And I am excited to know and to hear. So what inspired you from the very beginning? What inspired you to even get into journalism, and how did you get started?
Well, honestly, what inspired me was I hated math. The best way to not have anything to do with math was to go into journalism. And I always felt like I could write a little bit, that I had that guy to give me a certain talent to write a little bit. So that's kind of how I got started. I went to Auburn, took some journalism classes at Auburn. Fortunately, was hired by the great Jimmy Smothers in Gadsden and did a lot of time in North Alabama before coming down here to Mobile. So that's kind of how it got started. It's God has just blessed my path, as He does all of us. I mean, He ordains our steps along the way, and there was really no, I just fell into it. He led me into it, and He's blessed me the whole way. And particularly in the last, I guess, 12 years or so, since we, in 2013, we had the big change at the Press Register and AL.com, where we went to 3 days a week of print and ultimately to AL.com. And when that happened, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their job. And I was just a copy desk guy at that point, although I've been a lot of other places in my career. But they asked me to do high school sports. Well, I knew how to do high school sports, and been blessed to cover a lot of different things along the way, Auburn and Alabama, and seen some tennis. I covered the Masters. But what I've learned and what the last 10 years of my life, 10 or 11 years of my professional life have been the best, because I just got rejuvenated covering high school sports. The coaches want to see you most of the time, right, Coach? I mean, I can go to a lot of places, and no offense to Auburn or Alabama or anywhere like that, but if you go there these days, they think you need them a lot more than they need you. Whereas on the high school level, it's a lot more welcoming. So that's kind of the short version. The overall version is I just try and follow God's path, and this is where God led me to be at this point in my life. Where He'll lead me to be tomorrow, we'll see about that. But for right now, I've been blessed and had fun along the way.
That's so good.
No,
that's right. So good.
Ben, we're going to talk about our faith, one of our, in a little longer. But man, I just love the way you share your faith and use your platform to share the gospel, man. Especially with This Week in High School Sports. You always got scripture and stuff. And I love the way that you do that. And I constantly read AL.com every single day. It's just part of my routine, getting up in the morning, because we don't have a newspaper anymore. Yeah. And man, I really look forward to reading This Week in High School Sports to see what you got to say. And you really do a great job with that. So
well, I appreciate that. Coach Riley gave us a hard time, when the paper product went away because he was old school. He wanted to open his paper, but yeah, I mean that's y'all. Hey, I was that way too. My dad was that way. I grew up with him getting the afternoon paper, and working outside of Atlanta, getting the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and reading it when he got home with his cup of coffee and that type thing. But yeah, that's been good. I've got a lot of positive responses from that. Just trying to share a little bit. Hope it helps a little bit. And
Yeah.
the best part of my job is, sometimes you get to write about inspiring stories that hopefully mean something else to somebody else, whether I hear them about them or not. Maybe it just means something to their life. And, Danny, you probably read, Coach French's story a couple of months ago from what he went through, his medical scare, and just how the Lord blessed him through that. That was one of the most memorable ones I've written lately, I think.
Yeah.
I know. And it's amazing, but it's just one of those opportunities, like you said, that if you're asking God, because he has a plan for all of us, and if you're asking him and then you're walking out the steps that you feel that he's leading for you, there's no better feeling, because things are still going to happen and we're going to have to face things, but being able to utilize knowing we've invited God into it because he has the ultimate plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And my editors at AL.com have been supportive. I don't know if they may not read that far down. I don't know, but I've been happy about that, and I try not to worry about it. I mean, if something happens and the door closes on this part of my life on AL.com, then the Lord's going to open another door. I felt that way in 2013 when we had the changes. I mean, it was scary, but I felt even then, look, the Lord's going to lead me to the right path. I just got to follow him. And sometimes that's not easy, as you guys know, but I believe that wholeheartedly, that he's going to put us in the right place. We just got to follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No
We
doubt.
agree. We agree.
Well, man, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Friday Night Lights, man. High school football on a Friday night. There's nothing better, and I've been doing this a long time, but when I don't get butterflies on Friday, that's probably when I'm going to give up coaching football. But, man, I want to talk about you. What's it like for Ben Thomas on a Friday night? I know you don't really go to the games anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. You stay home and you get all your information through Twitter and other people calling you. Man, just walk our audience through what it's like for Ben Thomas on a Friday night. And you got to get all the updates on AL.com and the whole scenario.
Yeah, so it's changed a lot over the years, right? Even in the dozen years I've been a high school writer. I mean, I started out just covering the Mobile area, Danny. When you were coaching around here, that was my area, and then slowly, kind of just through attrition, most of the other full-time high school people left. Fortunately, I have a lot of correspondents who just love to be out on Friday nights. So I used to go to games, and that was a lot more fun than what I do now, to be honest with you. I like being out there. But in the last couple of years, what I've done is we still send people to games. You still see that on AL.com, but I run what we call Football High Live on Friday nights, which is from about 6:30 till about tell my wife I try and go to bed about 2:30 on Saturday mornings. That's usually, look, I'm 56 years old, Danny. After about 2:30, I'm not any good to anybody anyway.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a work day there.
Yeah, and it's not as fun. I come in here, this is my office at home. That's where I do most of my work now since COVID. But I come in here, I have 3 computer screens, I have 2 phones, I have a TV, and what I do is run this Football High Live from 6:30 till about 10:30 or 11. And I have the people we have out on. We try and cover 5 games or so in our major markets: Mobile, Birmingham, Huntsville. They're texting me updates through Twitter, through games that are on the NFHS network or on TV. I'm keeping up with the other big games, and it's just a constant minute by minute minute by minute, every other minute update of what's going on around the state. Games you may be looking for, who you're going to play in the playoffs. You may want to know what James Clemens is doing or whatever, So we try and keep up with that the best we can. And then once, pretty much we think all the scores are in, then I turned my attention to editing the stories of the people that have gone out and covered games, because most of them are not full-time journalists. They're people that love high school football and love student athletes. John Vella has been with us a long time, I think 20 years. He has another job. He just loves going out on Friday nights, Danny, like so many people do. Randy Kennedy has been was sports editor of the Press Register. He now hosts a radio show. He loves going out on Friday night. So we're fortunate. We pay him a little bit, but probably not enough to give up their Friday night for 15 weeks. 15
They just
weeks
love
a
it.
year.
Yeah.
They love it. And so
Yeah.
that's what I do. And by the end of the night, at the end of the night, we post all the final scores. And then in the, Saturday morning, I get up and I do some other things. And sometimes you look around. The reason why I don't go to games right now is because it's hard for me to, and I try and go on Thursday. If there's good games on Thursday, I try and go on Thursday, but it's hard for me to justify, okay, I'm going to cover two teams and then not know what's going on in the other 150 games around the state, so that's why that happens. But I'd much rather be out there covering them, but it's working for us. And we just continue to do what we think's best for our readership and for, the people of Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to come clean with something. I'm coaching over Mississippi, and I'm still trying to keep up with high school football in Mobile and throughout the state. And I got my phone. I kind of walk to the side, man. I had to look you up. Who's winning? What's Davis and what's Baker doing tonight?
Yeah.
Then I got to get my mind focused back on, our opponent. Of course, my team I'm coaching for, George County, comes first. But trust me, I still take a peek and find out what's going on in the city of Mobile and statewide.
And I definitely I miss all of you guys and seeing you come in and out of the stadium. And I'll have to tell on T-Mac. Got to bring up Tyler. T-Mac, he's sitting there beside me at every game, but he's got it on his phone. He has got it pulled up, and he is watching you the entire way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do that. I bet a lot of people around the state are on their phones, and that's really one of the main reasons that drove the actual newspaper out. Is that so many people get their news
digital
on this thing right now.
Yep.
I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I'm always scanning Twitter, so I have to, when I go to the dinner table, I have to put it away, so I'm not
right.
while I'm with my family, I'm not scanning it. But there's always news on it, so I appreciate everybody reading, and it changes yearly. We may do something different this year, but we're still at AL.com invested in our student athletes and trying to cover them the best way we can in a changing world.
Yeah. A quickly changing digital world, for sure. But you're doing a great job. You're making that change and transition very well.
Thank you.
So I want to know, what do you enjoy most? What do you enjoy most about this position that you're in right now? And then if there's anything at all that you don't really like or could change or dislike, but what do you enjoy most?
I mean, the thing I enjoy most is the thing that I think has kept me in journalism for 35 years, and that's getting to meet people, getting to tell their stories, getting to meet you guys and be at your wedding on the 50-yard line at the Baker High School field. I mean, you don't get that in a lot of jobs where
that's
you're just
right.
like office. And unfortunately, like I said, now I spend a lot too much time in this little room doing my thing, but I still get to get out during the week and tell stories. And, I think, again, that's why God has me in this place, to not just to sit in this office and, do Football High Live, but to get out there and meet people, to tell their stories. If in some way, my faith can impact them in any way, I certainly hope it can. And maybe it has along the way, but I can tell you that whatever I've poured out, I've been poured into 1,000 times more by the student athletes that I've covered, by the coaches that I've covered. It's just been a great blessing. So, I mean, that's the true honor of it, is just meeting people and writing about their stories and doing that thing. And even I try and take something I was taught early on from the great Jimmy Smothers, who now has gone on to heaven, was, put your name is on everything, whether you write a little short, tiny brief or you're writing a big story. Take pride in it because it has your name on it. And so that's what I've tried to do along the way. And Like I said, it's just been a blessing, kind of almost a rejuvenation of my career that I got to cover high school sports at this point, because I was an editor for a while, a sports editor in Montgomery, and it wasn't near as fun and fulfilling as this job is, because I was, managing and going to meetings and all that type stuff that's not nearly as fun. So again, it's been awesome.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Especially
What
when
would
somebody has that much passion and you can tell that it's a gifting, like that's a gift inside of you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What would I change? I would probably change, just like I'd rather be out covering games on Friday night. I'd rather be out seeing people, and I like going to the games and seeing people in the stands and talking to people. And kids give me a hard time if I picked against them. That's the funniest thing, is
Yeah.
seeing all the stuff on social media. When we do our picks and we all pick wrong against them, they put it on social media. Oh, you got this wrong. That's
They
I
love it.
enjoy that stuff. So fun.
They
Yeah.
love
And that
it.
could be bulletin board material too. I'm telling you, if Ben Thomas picks against our team, we'll put it up there, and highlight that. So
Yep. So
Coach,
good.
Coach, I have coaches that'll call me and say, "Hey, pick against us this week." I'll put this headline on there. I'm like, I am not going to do that, so those kids will be mad at me when I'm on the sideline.
That's right. There he is, right there. He picked us to lose.
I know.
All right, man. Let's move right along. So, talking about football players and everything. So, man, what is your thoughts on the name, image, and likeness getting ready to take place at the high school level? I'm with you, man.
I didn't like it at the college level, Danny, especially not what it's turned out to be, which is just basically, collectives paying for all these kids.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bad idea. I don't like it on the high school level. I've heard, I haven't been able to report it yet, but I've heard that possibly multiple athletes in our state may be leaving, big time athletes, to go to other states because of NIL.
And I know you just saw where Florida just passed it a couple of weeks ago. They have it. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Alabama and Mississippi is the only two states right now in the Southeast that don't have name, image, and likeness.
I think there's 36 states in the nation that have some type of NIL situation, or they've approved some type of situation. I just don't believe. I mean, I think we're making our kids grow up too quickly. I mean, I wasn't in favor of. I'm not really in favor of letting them graduate in December and go to school in January. I don't feel like we need that. I mean, why can't they stay and play basketball or baseball if that's what they play, and go to senior prom and do all that stuff? What's the hurry? Why are we trying to rush them?
And to me, the rich is going to get richer. I mean, what about the little 1A and 2A schools, a little small community? Well, high school football means the world to a community. And then those kids got opportunity to go somewhere and earn a little money. They're going to start leaving. I just hate it, man. There's nothing good about it right now.
I mean, I just can't envision. Look, I'm not questioning parents. You parents do, what they think they need to do for their kids, but I can't imagine going to the think table with my dad and saying, "Hey, I played at a school called Clarkston High School outside Atlanta." I was like, "Hey, I think we need to move to Redan so I can play over there." I mean, he would have been like, what are you talking about? I got a job. I can't move to Redan, or. So I just don't like. I don't like it. I think we're making the kids grow up too soon. I don't. Steve Savarese, who we all know, told me, what happens when you got a quarterback who's making more money than the coach or the superintendent for his junior or senior year? I mean, how could that possibly be good?
You think he's going to respect that coach, or that the administrator or superintendent? It's just, man, it's not good for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. Yeah. So Ben, I know you've been covering high school football now for what, 30 years?
Yeah, on and off. But yeah, 30. I've been in this business for 35 years in one way or another.
So
I know I don't look that old, but
no, you definitely don't. I mean, what's some of the most memorable things that you can think of, or is there, some times that just stand out to you?
Some memorable games or something?
Yeah. I mean, the two that stick out immediately, I always think about, were pretty recently, and only one of them involved a team from down here. The first one is the Thompson Auburn High Class 7A football game from a couple years ago in Tuscaloosa, where Adam Weingarten, who we know
Yeah.
from down here, his time at Fairhope. He and Auburn had, looked like for all the world they were going to beat Thompson. They were up 10 points, I think, with about 20 seconds left, and ended up losing the game. I mean, it just was shocking the way that whole thing developed. They blocked a punt, ran it back, got an onside kick, and then ended up kicking a field goal in the final 18
interference or
seconds of the game.
something. It passed
Pass interference penalty.
closer. They kicked the field goal to end the game. I remember that.
I remember
I felt
that.
so bad for Alan. Alan's a friend of mine, and he's a great guy, man. That's just a tough way to lose a game.
It was just shocking. I mean, just shocking. And the way that happened. That's what's great about sports. It's just you're seeing something new every game you go to almost.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other one that comes to mind was the baseball game between Faith Academy and Hartselle. They were playing for the Class 6A state championship in Montgomery, and Hartselle looked like they had walked it off. They got a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 7th inning, and guy scored a run. It was not really a close play, and they Coach Matt Seymour, to his credit, appealed the play at third, and the umpire ruled that the player left third too soon. So, while Hartselle is dogpiling winning the state championship over here on the first baseline, all of a sudden Faith Academy is excited jumping off the field, and we go into the 8th inning of a tie game versus Hartselle, winning the championship. And Faith Academy ended up scoring 7 runs in the 8th inning and winning the game. So that was memorable. And I had it. The way things work now, you're always trying, like I said, we're always using these devices, and I was videotaping the dog pile type moment, which I usually do if I'm there at championship games. And so you could see the whole thing. You could see them dog pile, and then you could see the coach come out and the guy rule him out. And it was just another moment. You're like, wait, what just happened here?
Wow.
Those are kind of just the cool and crazy moments. Yeah. Emotion. That's what it's all about. The emotion, I think, just the emotion of it all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in sports, like, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
So, well, man, let's talk about some recruiting, man. It's always recruiting in state of Alabama is 365 days out of the year. It's not a season for that. So let's talk about the Mobile area, man. I still keep up with a lot of these guys, and I know this is your bread and butter right here. But Michael Dubose is he going to Alabama this weekend? And what's the status on him?
Yeah, I saw that he was taking an official visit to Alabama. He was committed to Georgia very early in the career. The guy's a monster. I mean, he's he's a Willie Anderson lookalike kind of guy. But I don't know. He's going to Alabama for an OV. A lot of people think he might end up at LSU. I've heard Auburn's involved. Last time I talked to Micah, Georgia was not involved anymore. That they had kind of not had any contact with him. But he's it's just another, we just have top recruits all over the place. I mean, and he's a guy that everybody wants. He's that prototypical tackle, that's big and can move. And of course, right now, Viger's looking for a head coach, so it's hard to get the communication there. But Micah's a good guy. You know what I love about Micah is he plays about 6 different sports.
Is that right?
He played on the basketball team that went to the final game. He plays soccer. He plays tennis on the high school tennis team. Can you imagine that? That big guy playing tennis, but he is all out. That's another example of, man, I hate these guys leaving early because I don't know if Mike is or not, but I like to see them fulfill their whole high school careers.
Yeah.
He's a great kid.
You mentioned a few seconds ago about Willie Anderson. They called him Stu Me, and he played basketball. I remember watching him when I was at Shaw High School, watching him at Shaw, and man, he was unbelievable inside the paint. Man, he was a force. I mean, he could do it all. And Micah Dubose, I saw him at one of South Alabama camps. I think he was either a freshman or sophomore. A lot of the one-on-one pro agility stuff, and he was a man back then. You could tell he's going to be special. So, man, just, rolling right along, Saraland, KJ Lacey still committed to Texas. You don't see any chance of him flipping right now. What about Antonio Coleman?
Yeah, I think Antonio's flipped from Alabama to Auburn, back to Alabama. You're talking about the Saraland defensive lineman. I think he's probably, Nick Saban stepping down. I think that freaked everybody out for a little while. Even Ryan Williams, who decommitted, the day that Nick Saban stepped down. But I think now Alabama's back stabilized, having another good recruiting year with Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack over there. Excuse me. I think Antonio settled at Alabama. I think he's going to go to Alabama. KJ, I think, he's still holding fast. He's actually going from the elite. He's actually at the Elite 11 this week in Los Angeles and going from there to his official visit in Austin. Auburn and Ole Miss have both been after him to come on an official visit. I get the feeling that Auburn could get involved in that. He's never said anything bad about Texas, but man, Texas is piling up the quarterbacks. They got Arch Manning there behind Quinn Ewers, and they just got a commitment from I think a 2026 guy. So, it probably will depend on where he, if he thinks he can get in there and beat those guys out. I would not be surprised if Auburn ended up getting into the mix late on this, but right now he's saying all the right things about Texas.
Yeah. Hey, what about Colin Wilson down at Gulf Shores?
Yeah, he was committed to Cincinnati. I saw just recently that he had flipped to Mississippi State. So it looks like he's going to play in the SEC.
Wow.
Other people could come in on him as well. But he just recently flipped to Mississippi State. So, big key in there winning the Class 5A state title last year for Mark Hudspeth. And now they're going up to, they'll be in 6A with the Saralands and Spanish Forts and Blunts of the world. So that'll be a challenge for him.
Well, anybody else in the Mobile area is being offered any D1 schools? Anybody we don't know about off the radar?
Williamson's got a ton of kids. Carday Smith is committed to Auburn, big offensive lineman. We lost a lot last year. Obviously, there was a ton of prospects with Josh Flowers and all those guys. Ryan Williams may have been you may be asking me about the greatest players I've seen, Danny. Ryan Williams will be right at the top of the list. The guy was incredible, as evidenced by winning two straight Mr. Football awards. But
wow,
it's a great time. Mobile has always been so talent rich.
Put out some time, man.
And it's the same now.
Yeah, a good deal.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Michele, back to you. What you got for Ben?
Well, I like to ask my questions now.
Uh-oh.
So if you could interview any sports player in history, who would it be and why?
Danny Smith. Oh man, any sports player in history. I got a non-sports player in history, but I'll save that one for you. Let's see. I interviewed Greg Maddux. I mean, it would probably be like I'm trying to think of somebody. I've been blessed to interview a lot of people that would be on that list, like Bo Jackson.
Wow, great
people like that. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to sit down with Chipper Jones. He was one of my favorites. Of course, I'm from in the Atlanta area, so I'm a big Braves fan.
Yeah,
that would be fun. But going back, I mean, I guess in my mind, because it's been such publicity this week, talking to Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or those type guys.
Oh yeah.
About their experiences, that MLB game at Rickwood this week is such a neat thing. And we lost Willie, unfortunately, early in the week.
Yeah.
At 93, but those guys would be fun to talk to. Pat Sullivan. I talked to Pat late in his life, but that would be those type of guys would be cool. But I've been blessed, man. I've interviewed Gene Stallings and Pat Dye and those type guys. So it's been fun along the way. I've been more blessed than I deserve in that respect.
That is so cool. A legend in the presence of legends. So cool. Yeah. I love that.
Hey, so Ben, we're gonna have a little fun right now, man. You're the first guy we've had on our podcast.
That's scary.
Rapid fire, off the wall questions with you.
Oh my goodness!
You okay with that, man? We're gonna shoot you some questions, and we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna have some fun with this.
Just answer straight off the top of your head. We trust you.
I give it my best shot.
All right. Here we go. All right, Ben. Biggest pet peeve.
Bad drivers.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. WWE.
All right, I hear you. We got it going now. trip ever taken?
What was that?
Your favorite trip ever taken?
My family and I just went on a cruise to Mexico, 7-day cruise to different places, and it was awesome. We're going to do it again.
All right.
If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
Well, this is not going to be a fun answer, but I would pay some bills off, and then I hope I'd give a lot of it to the church. And then I got a granddaughter coming, so I would probably spoil her a little bit more.
Nice.
There you go.
That's nice.
All right. Steak or seafood?
Seafood.
Okay.
Beach or mountains?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm going to say beach. I like the beach, but I don't like day trips to the beach. Like I live in Daphne. I don't like to go down there just for the day and come back. I like to go down there and stay.
Yes.
All right. Your favorite breakfast food?
Pancakes.
All right.
Sunrise or sunsets?
Sunsets.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Auburn, Alabama.
War Eagle. All right. Favorite coffee spot?
Soul Caffeine in Daphne.
Favorite color?
Blue.
All right. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Gosh. Hamburgers probably.
Your favorite season?
Fall football.
There you go.
Like
All right. What was your favorite subject in school? I think we know this one.
Yeah, probably English. I did like history, but I can tell you what it's not, and that's math.
We should have said that. Let's not.
All right. Last one, Ben. If you can get this one, man, I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee. Name of your first grade teacher.
My first grade teacher.
Yep.
First grade. I don't know.
I
know my elementary school principal. He was Mr. Tuck.
Hey, I'll still gonna buy you a cup of coffee. How about that?
Okay.
That was
right.
good. You remembered the principal, administration.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
First
Well, we
grade's been a
love
long time ago.
Yeah.
It has been a long time ago. I mean, you actually remember yours?
Yeah. I can remember my first through fifth grade. I can remember every elementary teacher I had.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that because you stayed in trouble or?
Yeah. They called my name a lot, and I would say, "Yes, ma'am, Miss Jones. Yes, ma'am, Miss Sylvester." And always
he was in trouble a lot, Michelle. That's why he remembers him.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, it's been so fun getting to know you, Ben. You're such a blessing to so many people. And I know that we've thrown out, we talk about our favorite F words, which is faith, family. We talk about fitness and health, some, finances, freedom, having fun, and then a whole lot of football. And we just appreciate you being here with us. We treasure your friendship, and you've thrown, and inserted some about your faith throughout our conversation tonight. But is there anything else that you'd like to, close with or share with our network and our friends and audience that watch our show? Just anything on your heart that you'd like to share?
Well, I mean, I would just say, one of my favorite Bible verses is Colossians 3:23, which basically paraphrasing says, do whatever you do as if you're working for the Lord, because that's what we're all working for, so
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, do it as if you're working for the Lord, whether it's coaching football or writing about football or doing roofing or whatever. And I hope that the Lord has blessed me in a lot of ways and put me in a position where hopefully I could use my faith to help others. I know I have come up empty sometimes, but maybe somewhere along the way I impacted others, because I know people like you guys have impacted me. So, if I can ever do anything to help anybody, if you got any questions about your faith or you want to you want to ask about Jesus, I'm easy to find. You can email me at bthomas@al.com. Twitter is Ben Thomas Preps. I hope you follow me if you don't. And I hope, iron sharpens irons. People, y'all's faith helps my faith. And we just do what we can. We're in a world that kind of discourages it. It seems like it a lot of times, but God is still in control. And he ultimately wins. And we have to remember that even when it looks dark.
Man.
Yes, exactly. And we agree with that
100%.
100%. And so we just thank you and we speak blessings on you and everything that you're doing. And just like you said, everything that you go to put your hands to do, and the writing and the doors opening for you and your family. Just Danny and I stand with you, and we just say thank you for who you are. Thank you for being bold about that, because sometimes in this world it is hard and we do need one another. And you're right, iron sharpens iron. And guys, if you're listening and you're watching this, you have to go follow Ben Thomas. I mean, he just gave you his email address. We will drop it in the show notes as well, but he's on Twitter, he's on al.com. But just talk about a man with a genuine heart and a love for people and a love for Jesus. And that shines through, Ben. And we appreciate that in you so much.
Well, thank you. I thank you for the forum, and thank you guys. I love you guys. And it was such an honor being at your wedding. How many years ago has that been now?
It's been
8 years.
8 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So Ben, with that article that you wrote, we got it framed and we got it in our bedroom, man. And it was a great article and stuff. And we go back and reminisce about that. And you did a great job. And we sure appreciate that, man.
That was so cool, just to remember that, all of that happening like it did. But then when you wrote the article, was just such a blessing in honor of what God was actually doing in our lives then, and to watch it and where he's taken us and where he's got us now.
It's been awesome to see. And that was fun. Like I said, that's just something you don't plan on, but you get to experience, and that was a good time.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think there's been another coaching couple to get married on the 50-yard line.
Not that I've covered. That's the first 50-yard line wedding I've covered, and maybe the last.
Hey, I have to admit, it was her idea, and I couldn't say no. So,
well, actually, it started with the team made a joke, and then our kids made a joke about it, and we just kind of ran with it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
We still date on the 50-yard line, Ben. I still have to meet him there on Friday nights, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Well, Ben, thank you again for tonight, man. Being on our show, it's always a pleasure catching up with you and getting to see you, man, and looking forward to the future. Maybe we go buy you a cup of coffee, and
anytime.
Enjoy seeing you around, man.
And keep it up. We miss you in Mississippi. Sure wish I could get you over there some.
Yeah.
We love it over there. But
hey, if God calls me to Mississippi, I'll go to Mississippi. But I think I'd have to drag my wife kicking and screaming.
Man.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out inside Coach's Cave here on Inside the Red Zone. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you've heard anything, and be sure and share it with your family and friends. And
it's 4th and 2. What you gonna do?
What are we gonna do? It's time to go. Let's go.
Right.
4th and 2.
All right, man. Take care, buddy.